What's going on, guys? In this video I wanted to talk to you about the part of self-development that nobody really ever tells you about. Now be sure to stick around to the end because understanding this principle is very important to being successful in life. And let's get straight into it. So what this idea is that I want to get at is essentially like when it comes to self-development as a thing implies that you are looking to level up in life. If you're focused on your self-development, you are looking to develop as a person, and that means you're trying to go from like point A to point B, whether that be financially, whether that be in relationships or whatever area of your life, or just as an overall individual person, which in a way, all of these things that you're trying to get at, maybe it's you're trying to go from being in poverty to having abundance, or going from not having any girls in your life to having girls in your life, or whatever it is, you're choosing to do these things because you think you'll feel good in the having of it, and you think it will expand you essentially as a person. So really everything you're doing does come down to evolving as a person, expanding as a person, but with that requires the understanding that you're going to have to change as a person, because it's not about, this is where the mistake comes in, I think, with people in self-development, is they think they can learn a technique or a trick or something and be the same person at that time and just get a different result, right? So they think it's kind of like a math equation where like they just change one digit and get a different result, but it's really not about that. What it's about is you, the person, has to change. I can give you a personal example. So right before the coronavirus pandemic started and all the lockdowns happened, I had just started doing some work with a real estate business where I was making calls and I had all these things going on. And at that point in my life, I was a different person than I am now, and it's been, 3-4 months? I truly feel like a different person because during that lockdown period, I had just gotten this job. I was really excited. I had this apartment picked out. I was getting ready to move into, and all these different things, and I had to take a pause on all of it, and I was really worried about like my financial situation. And through that moment, I developed as a person because once that happened, I decided to take more responsibility for my life, more accountability for my life. And in doing so, I just really felt like I changed as a person. And now my demeanor, now that I'm back working and doing all these things, has changed again. And had I not gone through this adversity and struggle, I wouldn't have changed as a person. And I don't think I'd be being as successful in what I'm doing now as I would have been otherwise. And this is really the point of what I want to get at here, guys, is you have to change as a person in self-development to level up, right? It's not about like meditation is essentially, when I talk about meditation, or we do NoFap, or we do all these different self-development practices, what these are essentially like conduits into you changing as a person. The trick itself, the hack, the meditation, the NoFap or the cold shower itself is not the thing that gets you the result. This is simply the kind of like the byproduct that leads to it essentially. So like what really is giving you the change in your life is you, the individual, changing. And this is kind of, it might seem like a weird paradigm flip, and it might not seem that relevant, but it really is very important to understand that it's about you changing as an individual, not about the external thing you decide to start doing. That's a byproduct of you, the person, changing. Like I used to have, when I was like 19 years old, it was damn near impossible for me to get up before 9 o'clock. Now I get up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock every day, at the latest 7 every single day. And this is simply just because I've changed as a person, right? It's not simply that I set the alarm earlier, because I could have set the alarm earlier when I was 19. It's that I changed as a person, and as a result, I have a morning routine now, and I get up early. The getting up early is a result of the person changing. So I changed, now my routine changed. And when you understand this, you realize it's about you making changes. It's not about adding a hack so that you can be the same person doing the same things, and you just add this one thing and expect a completely different result in your life. And I don't think people understand this, and I also don't think they understand that with changing and growing as a person comes a lot of strain and pain and agony a lot of times. One of my favorite quotes is Carl Jung, the psychologist. He said that in order for a tree's branches to reach heaven, its roots had to reach hell. And the reason I really like this quote is because it implies that in order for you to really become all that you can be and all that you want to be, you have to kind of go down to the depths of yourself as a person psychologically. You're going to have to clear a lot of stuff out of yourself. And also, like externally speaking, you're going to have to go through the trials to get to your results. And I really just don't think people understand this principle. Essentially, as I was saying mentioned earlier in the video, what self-development is really about. It's about evolution. You are evolving as a person. If you, like I said, if you want to go from poor to rich, this is about your evolution. You're doing so because you think the having of the money will make you a happier person, will make you have a richer life. It's an experience you want to have, essentially. And so this is about you evolving as a person. But what people don't seem to understand, and what I'm trying to get at here, and it's a little bit, depending on your understanding of this concept already, will depend on if you understand what I'm getting at here. But when I'm talking about you want to experience the money because you want to experience perhaps what abundance feels like, or you choose to do a self-development practice because you think it will get you a result, the understanding at the bottom of it has to be that you, the person, has to be that thing, essentially. So in order, like I really had to figure this out, because when I first committed to building like financial success for myself, I was not the kind of person who was capable of having financial success. And even after I got like my real estate business working, I got some big checks. Like I got an $11,000 in one day one time, and I literally ended up impoverished still, like because I was not caught up with the idea of being wealthy as a person. And so I essentially had to go through more struggle with finances so that I could develop into the person who was capable of having financial abundance. So what I'm getting at here, guys, is that all self-development is about self-development. It's not about external practices. It's not about getting an external result. It is about you, the self, developing. And as you, the self, develops, the things just come to you. And essentially all self-development practices are really designed to help the evolution of you, the self. So meditation, as an example, what you're doing when you're meditating is, meditation itself is not doing anything, like, is not bringing everything you want into your life. It is a conduit to you having the opportunity to get the things you want in your life, because it allows for self-awareness, perhaps, or just presence to the moment, or to focus, right? So whatever you think about is what you're going to bring into your life, or something like that. And you go to meditate, you can clear your mind. You can, first of all, through meditation, in some forms of meditation, you start to observe your thoughts. You can notice the stories you're telling yourself that aren't positive, and you can start to change the stories. And when you start to change the stories you tell yourself, you start to change who you are as a person. And when you change who you are as a person, you change the results you get. But meditation itself, it's not like if you just closed your eyes for 5 minutes and that was all you did, nothing would change in your life. It's about the opportunity that comes from meditation to evolve as a person. Same with like NoFap, for example. Not masturbating has honestly zero to do with your success in life, right? Like I guarantee you there are, like I've heard stories, like I know like some successful people do masturbate. Like, so the idea that simply stopping masturbation suddenly makes you successful isn't true. But what NoFap does is it gives you the opportunity to change as a person, because you go from doing this low level behavior that's really bad for you to ideally doing positive things. And this is why I talk about in some of my NoFap videos, I've explained that it really doesn't matter if you masturbate or don't masturbate if you're not going to use the time constructively. So essentially what it is, again, is an opportunity for you as a person to grow and change. So understanding what I want to get at in this video, it's a little bit rambling. This is a complicated topic to get at, but essentially what I want to get at with you guys here is to understand that techniques and all this stuff, I think people rely on them too much, and at the end of the day, it's about, are you ready to make the change? Are you ready to evolve into that person? And when you've made the decision and you have evolved as a person to that which you desire, to that level that you're trying to get to in whatever area of your life, it'll come to you naturally. And the techniques and all that stuff that are kind of, that create the opportunity for that to happen, will just naturally flow into your life. When you become the kind of person who wakes up early and goes to the gym, you'll start doing it. Otherwise, setting your alarm and saying you're going to go work out is meaningless, because you'll just, maybe you do it for a couple days, but you don't stick with it. It's about the change internally, and this requires a lot of self-awareness, and it requires commitment to your own personal evolution rather than relying on outside tactics. But guys, if you got something out of this video, be sure to give me a like so I can reach more guys with my message. If you're new to my channel, my name is Keith. I made this channel to help men create their ideal lives through self-mastery. And be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you don't miss tomorrow's video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll talk to you later.